National History Day 2016. Encounters, exchanges, and exploration in history. Victoria Wise, Man Walks on Moon. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind, is what Neil said on that extraordinary day 45 years ago. Tell you what, I was this close. Of course, I wouldn't have actually been on the lunar surface, but I would have been orbiting the moon in space again. Don't get me wrong though, I love those guys. My name is William Anders, and I was part of the backup crew for Apollo 11. For you actors out there, I was Michael Collins' understudy. But enough about me. You've all heard Neil's speech 1,001 times. The statement was broadcasted all over the world to over 600 million people. Few people, however, know that Neil messed up. He meant to say, that's one small step for a man, one giant leap for mankind. Although there is some debate whether the word a just got cut out or if he didn't say it at all. And even though it is taught in all the textbooks, some people will never believe in the Apollo 11 moon landing. If there's one thing you should learn from this, my story today, it's this. July 16, 1969, Apollo 11 launched from Cape Canaveral, Florida, with the first moonwalkers ever inside. Sorry, Michael Jackson, winning the space race for the USA. July 20th, 1969, Neil Armstrong took the first steps on the moon, followed closely by Buzz Aldrin. The two of them explored the moon for 2 hours before coming home. The space race is exactly what it sounds like, a race to space that started in 1958. In 1958, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration was created by President Eisenhower. The space race was heated when Russia sent Luna 2 to the moon, and even though it crashed, it put Russia ahead in the space race. And even though Russia sent the first person, Yuri Gagarin, to space in 1961, the Americans sent Neil and Buzz 238,900 miles to the moon. Tell me which one you think would win the race, leaving Earth's atmosphere or landing on the moon? You might be asking yourself, did we really land on the moon? Or is the space race really over? Well, the answer is not as simple as yes or no. We must look over the facts, and then you can decide, based on the facts, whether we did land on the moon and if it did indeed end the space race. Besides, JFK promised in '62 to go to the moon before the 70s. Why would he say that? Hey guys, in 7 years, let's pretend to go to the moon. Don't you think if the government spent 7 years preparing a fake moon landing, no one would be able to tell it was faked? So let's go over a few main arguments and debunk them. Some people say that the footprints on the moon are too well preserved, like what happens in wet sand here on Earth. Well, there's no wind on the moon. So even though the lunar sand is fine, it can't be blown around, and the footprints can't blow away or get covered up. Some people like to bring up the rocks found in Antarctica. And yes, I know they're the same ones brought back from the moon. But geologists have confirmed that the rocks in Antarctica have scorched oxides from entry to Earth's atmosphere. The rocks from Apollo 11 don't, because they were brought back with Neil and Buzz. One of the most famous conspiracies is that the flag moved when it was being set up. Well, there's no wind on the moon. So how could this happen? What the people claiming this are overlooking is that the flag was held on a horizontal bar, and when it was being unrolled and set into place, it moved. That's it. Think about those. That's all I'm asking. Something I think anybody of religion will find interesting is that Buzz Aldrin took the first Christian communion on the moon. He said in his book, Magnificent Desolation, A Long Journey Home from the Moon, I wanted something positive for the world, so the spiritual aspect appealed greatly to me. NASA had to fight a lawsuit claiming that the communion was a violation to the constitutional separation of church and state. Buzz Aldrin also said these words previously said by Jesus. I am the vine, you are the branches. Whoever remains in me, and I in him, will bear much fruit, for there is nothing you can do without me. The space race was ended when Neil and Buzz landed on the moon, which made a whole lot of countries mad. There were also 6 more missions after Neil and Buzz. Arguably the most famous of those was Apollo 13. Its crew survived an explosion of the oxygen tank in their craft. Also, technologies have greatly been advanced since space travel. From the technology used in space travel and from space travel itself comes the CAT, or CAT scanner, computer microchips, cordless tools, ear thermometers, the ability to freeze-dry food, insulation. Where would you be if you didn't have insulation? Too cold in the winter, too warm in the summer? Also, invisible braces, memory foam, satellite TV, joysticks, scratch-resistant lenses, smoke detectors, swimsuits, and water filters. If you're from a newer generation, you might not remember life without these things. Your parents might, but you probably won't. Now you know facts about the moon landing, and I feel confident that you will agree with me. Did we really land on the moon? Yes. Is the space race really over? Even though countries are still competing to see who can go farther, the actual space race is over. My name is William Anders, and I can promise you that the moon landing was not faked.